And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining.
And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Tap Room Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Stacks on Stacks Lads. Joined, as always, with my guys, Mr. Big Ball and Ben Larson. Swerving Irving Washington. Who we can't see, but we got a picture of him, which I guess will suffice.
There we go.
Irv, are you there?
He just lost him.
Irv is not here. He's having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
He'll be on shortly. Sorry for the delayed start. We were having some technical difficulties, but we're getting it going. We're gonna deal with it. That's what we do. Here he comes again. Here he comes on again. Irv, you there? Anyways, Ben, while Irv's...
Oh, can kind of hear him.
We can hear you a little bit. Are you there?
My internet is tripping.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like you're on like acid right now. Like the internet is tripping.
That Los Angeles internet, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, how we doing, Ben? Irv, how
I'm
you
doing
guys
good,
doing?
man. Wish we were on the other side of this weekend. Just starting it, but
Yeah.
is what it is.
The weekend warrior over here, Mr. Big Ball and Ben Larson.
Always.
Oh, we lost Irv again. He's figuring out his thing. It'll be okay. We'll get him back
Yep.
on here.
How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Wasn't a great Sunday betting wise. Had a lot of bad beats, but that's how it goes. I had a great Saturday. Gave it all back today.
Yep.
It is what it is. Had to finish off in a weird way. Under 5.5 Kraken stars. 0 goals scored in the first period. 6 scored in the second.
Yep.
And it goes over. So
Cannot believe that.
it is what it is. We are being brought to you by Tavour. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device and use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. You don't even have to leave your seat. With that being said, Ben, I know you got something good that you're sipping on. What are you sipping?
Yeah, so I've got a weird beer today. One that I saw at Total Wine, so I knew I had to. So this is it's from a brewery called Doka Beer, DOKKA EBEI. Jesus Christ, EBIER. So it is brewed out of San Francisco at Hunters Point Brewery. So it's kind of one of those guest brewers. But it's got gochujaro, which is a Korean sun-dried chili pepper, and then it's got ginger in it as well. So I saw it, I had to take it. I just took my first sip. It's a little interesting. I'm hoping it grows on me. But it's a platinum award winner. It's rated 91 out of 100 from the Beer Connoisseur. So it's definitely a high rated beer, and we'll see how this goes throughout the full can.
Damn. Interested in that with the high rating like that.
Yep.
That's interesting. Sorry, I'm posting that we're going live right now. Irv's coming back in here. Let's see if we got him. Irv, do we got you? Anyways, while he's loading, I am sipping on a Fremont Brewing Company. This is a Gose, however you pronounce it. This is with this is a sour ale with cucumber, lime, and San Juan salt. So in honor of Cinco de Mayo weekend, figured pull this one out.
There we go.
Get it going. And the Kraken scored again, 6-1. What a fucking day. What a day, bro. Cannot make it up. Just a very funny day. Probably my worst betting day of all time if we're keeping it a buck.
Yeah. Those days happen.
Yeah, they do. You just got to move on to the next day. Anyways, with that being said, man, we got a lot to talk about, a lot on the show to talk about. Kentucky Derby went down. UFC 288 went down, or 286, whatever the fuck number they're on now.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of the Kentucky Derby, Ben?
I did. I watched the race. Was really surprised. You're going through half the race, and your top two horses who are supposed to be, the highest chance are in the last two places, which is just surprising coming out of the gates like that. Awesome to see a 15-1 win it, or 16-1 win it. Awesome to see Mattress Mac lose another 1.2 million on a horse. It was fun to see it. It's a horse race. It's a 2-minute horse race.
Yeah. I'm not a horse racing expert by any stretch of the imagination. People were asking me, "Oh, what horse should I bet on?" I was like, "Bro, you're asking the wrong person."
Exactly.
Just pick a horse with a name that you like and throw it on there. Throw a couple bucks on there. Like, don't go crazy, because like it's a horse race at the end of the day. Like, nobody fucking, it's crazy.
Exactly. Yep.
But all I kept hearing all week from like horse racing experts was that like this field, first of all, was like one of the weakest fields they'd ever seen in the Kentucky Derby. And on top of that, everyone was like, Forte is definitely the horse to beat. He was the favorite all week. He was like 3-1 or even less in some spots. And then he gets scratched on the final day, right? So it was like, that kind of threw all the odds off. So like if you didn't get a bet in before Saturday, you probably got like terrible odds, even on Mage. Like you could have got Mage like 18, 19-1 earlier in the week. And then because there was only 18 horses in the field, it dramatically shifted the odds, especially because the favorite was no longer in it.
Yeah.
So
I know this race is like historic, but with all of the injuries and like the horse issues this year, I'm really wondering how many times we're going to see the Kentucky Derby run again.
Oh, dude, the Kentucky Derby's going to be on as long as
they had to put down 7 horses.
I mean, I don't want to like take it there because I don't want to sound like a fucking dick or anything, or that I don't empathize with animals or anything, but it's like at the end of the day, like, you know, horse racing's been around for centuries, dude. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big horse racing guy, but I would love to go. I would love to attend a Kentucky Derby or attend a Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's definitely something that I would like to do. All right. We got a lot to talk about. Let's hop into some baseball real quick. So the Cardinals been, this is a team we've kind of been talking about. Aaron and I talked about them on Friday.
Yep.
They opened the season, I think it was minus 120 to win the division. Now they're at plus 500, so 5-1 to win a division, and they're 11-24. They're in last place. You know what the crazy thing about the Cardinals is? They've only finished in last place in their division one time in 100 years.
No. Well, I mean, they're only 4 games back, so
but they're 11-24. They're 13 games under 500.
Well, no, but from not finishing last place in their division.
Oh yeah.
You're 4 games back of Cincinnati, 3.5 games back from Cincinnati. So, they don't have far to go. This is a much better team than we know that they're performing, but yeah, I mean, they've got a worse last 10 than Oakland.
Yeah.
It's, that's really surprising to see. The last place in the league, third to last place in the league for a team that we had winning that division. It was a two-man race there between the Cardinals and the Brewers in our eyes when we were talking about this division.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're struggling. They're struggling to put up runs, and their pitching has just been
Dude, they're
absolutely atrocious.
the seventh worst pitching, 4.79 ERA, 4.08 xFIP.
Yep.
I mean, they're just they're really not doing anything very well. They are 10th in WRC plus, so like they're not like terrible putting up runs, but yeah, dude, their issue definitely falls in pitching, and especially their starting rotation. Their starting rotation ERA is like one of the worst. Today, news comes out from a Cardinals beat writer that they're gonna move Wilson Contreras to DH and outfield.
Yeah,
which definitely speaks volumes. And I was talking to someone yesterday about the Cardinals, and he was saying, man, like honestly, the biggest thing that he recognized or can like pinpoint his finger on is the loss of Yadi Molina.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, I didn't even think about that because Yadi's bat wasn't that great. You know what I mean? But his presence
defensively, even though he was old, he still was a monster behind the plate.
Yep.
His locker room and dugout presence was really the big thing here. Should this be a divisional winner and divisional race team to going into the last place almost in the league? No, that shouldn't be something that you use. And if it is, you are calling Yachty and offering him millions of dollars to be a dugout coach and getting him back into that dugout at least for the home games.
Well, Ben, I was gonna say, on like, why don't you just fire Marmol, call Yachty, and be like, yo, we want you to be the manager, because he's already been outspoken saying he wants to be a manager in baseball. Like that's his next step in his career.
Yeah, but I think he wants time. I'm guessing you don't just like you need a little bit of a break after playing that long. But I'm not the one.
I mean, call him,
Yeah.
Get on the phone and be like, yo, like at this point you have to move on from Carlos Marmol, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
I'm surprised they didn't move on from him at the beginning of the series. I mean, before Detroit, they were on a 7-game losing streak?
Yeah,
and even on a 7-game losing streak.
And they haven't won a series since like the first series of the year, I think.
They tied the Pirates series and then they won the Rockies series. But that's 15, 20 games ago.
Yeah. Like at this point, I mean, we saw it work with Phillies and we saw it work with the Blue Jays last year. Because like you can't just revamp your entire roster in the middle of the year, right?
Yeah.
And like this is already a good team. Like we know that they were projected -120 favorites to win the division.
Yeah.
So it's like gotta make that change. And it started with the Tyler O'Neill thing, right? Where he comes out publicly, and like that's when the downward spiral really began. And now it's like the Wilson Contreras thing. And it's like, bro, there's something up with that locker room, dude.
Yeah.
That's one thing we do know. Like that we can actually get a pulse on, is that there's definitely something wrong in that locker room.
Yeah. And if this is, this is happening, 35 games in the season,
it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, to have your locker room just, already lost, there's no getting it.
Yep.
No getting it back. I mean, I think the one thing that they have going for them is that you're in one of the worst divisions. You've got Pittsburgh on a 7-game losing streak, which is just as bad as you were just on. I mean, I guess they were on 8. Cincinnati's not that great. Chicago is a 500 team. Milwaukee's 2-8 in their last 10 too, 3-7 in their last 10. So you still have hope, but you've got to make that change now.
Yeah. So, I mean, from a future standpoint, like, Milwaukee's a favorite right now, -130 to win the division. Chicago Cubs +400, 4-1. Pittsburgh +450. Cardinals +500, and the Reds +6,000. Is there would you put money on the Cardinals to win this division at 5-1? 13 games under 500? Do you think there's a possibility that they can come back and win this division?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yes, there's always a possibility, and I think at 5-1, you can at least put a half unit on there. But I mean, I can see them beating out Cincinnati. I can see them beating out Chicago. With the way Pittsburgh's playing, at least the way they started off the season, and that they're on a 7-game losing streak and still the head of that division.
Well, that's because they got out to an unbelievable start.
Oh, absolutely. So, but I don't.
But we are seeing the regression from Pittsburgh.
We definitely are. And Pittsburgh did have, I mean, they had a tough set of series. You know, 3 against the Blue Jays, 3 against the Rays, and then that last Nationals where, you know, the day before they won 16-1. So they are playing tough teams. Pittsburgh is. So are the Cards. So are the Brewers. Not so much. The Brewers regression hurts when you're, you know, getting swept by the Rockies. You did beat the Angels, but you got swept by the Rockies and then won 1 of the 3 against San Francisco.
Well, the thing with the Brewers and why I didn't like the Brewers coming in the year is like they can't hit, dude.
Yeah,
they couldn't hit last year, especially lefties. They're dead. They're the worst team against lefties in baseball. Like they can't hit lefties.
Not the Giants anymore.
It's terrible, man. And like, you know, their pitching can only carry them so far, and like their bullpen was like lights out for the first like they couldn't even, nobody could score on their bullpen. And then now we're seeing like a little bit of regression come from their bullpen. They went from number 1 bullpen ERA to, what is that, 12th in less than 2 weeks. So we're definitely seeing like regression there. We've seen regression from their offense. Honestly, the only team I'm confident putting money on in this division is the Cardinals, because like they do have a formidable lineup. You know, if somehow they figure it out and get rid of Marmol and figure out the pitching staff, I think that they have enough to win this division, man. They should win this division.
They do. They shouldn't be where they are. But I mean, it's going to take them a long time to get out of this hole, even if they fire the coach. I mean, could we see something like Philly did last year? Yes. But that was a unicorn situation. Does that happen again?
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's still a lot of time left.
There is definitely, you know, 130 games left. So you can do it, but I don't know if it happens.
You go on like a month tear, dude.
Yeah,
and you're right back in it.
And you have Arenado, you had Goldschmidt, you have Contreras. O'Neill has his moments. Nolan Gorman again has his moments. You know, Newt Barr. I think he's a little bit more of the name sake coming out of that the World Baseball Classic. You have Dylan Carlson out there. Like, you have the names, but again, you just have to put it together.
Yep.
And offensively, that's not the problem. It's the pitching.
Yep. It is definitely the pitching.
If you have Jordan Montgomery being your ace, that's not the number 1 I want coming out of a lineup.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Which kind of transitions into this next team, the Red Sox, because I feel like they're very similar to the Cardinals, where, you know, their pitching isn't great. Their starting rotation and as a whole, they are 22nd in baseball in team ERA. However, they're scorching hot right now.
Their bats are incredible.
Yep.
Second in runs, second in batting average, third in on base, third in slugging percentage.
Today was the first day a game of theirs has gone up under in 9 games, dude.
Wow.
Just the offense that we're seeing from Boston is just, it's incredible, man. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won every series in the last 2 weeks. Masataka,
yeah,
easily AL Rookie of the Year if the season ended this year. right now. I mean, if the season ended this year, the season ended this week, definitely AL Rookie of the Year. But my question to you is kind of like, I kind of let it in like they're similar to the Cardinals, but yet they're winning games. Like, is the Red Sox formula sustainable for success throughout the course of the year?
No, because your bats are going to cool down. And I think with what we see, I mean, look at I don't know. That's more of their pitching cool down from last year. But I was going to compare it to the way that the Yankees pitching was top of the line at the beginning of the season last year, and then it automatically just went back to their means. And the Red Sox just don't have that starting rotation that is going to get you even in their division. I'd say even to the playoffs. I think they're on an incredible run right now, but having Tanner Hoke, having Chris Sale, who's got to be close to 40 now, right? Or at least 34. His body feels like he's close to 40.
34, but he's had he's coming off 2 good starts, so.
Yeah, but having then Pavetta 2 good starts and still at a 6.3 ERA. Corey Kluber, Nick Pavetta, Brian Bello, who has not lived up to where he should be, coming out of the hype that he had as a prospect.
Yeah, you got to give him young guys. You got to give time, especially pitching.
Yeah,
because it's a lot to adjust to. I mean, we see it all the time where guys are like they're in AAA, AA, and they pitch like 11 Ks per 9. But you get up to the major leagues. I mean, these guys are much better hitters, dude. Like,
yeah,
it's an adjustment, man.
Yeah, I think their bats are going to regress, which is really where they're getting all their runs and getting all their wins.
The one thing I like about their offense, though, Ben, is like they have the second lowest K rate in baseball, 19%. Mm-hmm. They don't strike out a lot.
Yeah. Well, and any of these guys can have a day. Devers, Verdugo, Turner, Hernandez, Yoshida. I mean, even Tristan Casas. Like, they can have themselves a day and win the game for your team.
Yep. No, they got some bats, man, and like they're gonna get Trevor Story back at some point this year. So that's only another bat to add.
But you're in the same division as Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Toronto, and New York.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. But I mean, like, I had Toronto winning this division, but like to be honest, I'm definitely starting to second guess that. I mean, dude, their best pitcher this year is Yusei Kikuchi.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this team is just, Gausman's been knocked around a couple times. Manoah is not the ace that he was last year. He looks a little worn down. Their bullpen, not good. They've been struggling all year. So, I've downgraded Toronto this year more than any other team so far. I do think at some point though Toronto's gonna like figure it out. They just have too many good players on that team.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as now, like I don't think they figured it out. And as far as the Yankees go, like injuries are huge. They got a bunch of older guys, and then Garrett Cole's been pitching out of his mind, but like he was definitely due for some negative regression. It hit today, gave up 6 earned runs against Tampa. And then as far as Tampa goes, I mean, they can't continue this pace, dude. Like this pace is unreal.
Yeah.
The pace that they're on. And they have struggled against winning teams other than Pittsburgh. That was like the only winning team they really dominated. If they lost to New York today, we're talking about we're talking about a team that's only played 3 winning teams in series and they would have lost 2 of them. And then what kind of conversation are we having about Tampa then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I definitely, and they're playing Baltimore this week, so we'll see.
This is going to be a big series this week. Yeah.
And I thought Baltimore's showing against Atlanta was huge, dude. Like, they should have won 2 of those games, dude. They should have walked out of that series 2-1 winners.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Spencer Strider. Or, I'm sorry, they beat Max Fried. They almost beat Spencer Strider. So, I mean, I think the Orioles are they're feeling good about themselves right now. You know what I mean? Like their bullpen is very good. Their starting rotation is definitely starting to figure it out, and they're going to get John Means back in the next month, which is absolutely huge. And Grayson Rodriguez, like, he's having some ups and downs, but like he's starting to figure it out a little bit, you know, and he's got great stuff. So
Yeah,
I think the Orioles are there to stay, man.
absolutely. I think they're going to be, fighting. We said last year we thought the Orioles were peaking early and that they were 2 to 3 years away. I still think they're 2 to 3 years away. Sorry, from last year when we were saying this. So they're still a year away from being the dominant team in this division.
Yeah.
In the AL East.
Yeah.
They're getting there, and they're doing it a year ahead from where I expected them to be. And that is, I mean, if you're part of the Orioles organization, if you're those higher ups, if you're those, scouting and minor league owners and coaches, you have to be like head over heels right now because of how good this team is doing with all of these young players.
Yeah, and on top of that, I was talking with Aaron about this. I was like, bro, like the Orioles could be the biggest player at the trade deadline if they're in position because they have the most assets, dude.
I was going to say that they still have people in the pipeline.
Yeah, like if a Corbin Burns becomes available, like they could outbid anybody for him.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody that could compete with them except maybe the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
So it's and that's the thing with the Orioles is like, I thought they were going to add a piece in free agency this year, especially in the middle infield because that's where they struggled.
Yeah.
But they didn't because Elias, the GM, he feels Mike Elias, he was the architect of the Astros, right?
Yeah.
He did the same thing with the Astros. He built it in the pipeline with the farm system, and then he slowly adds vets, the Garrett Coles of the world, right? The Verlanders of the world. And then that's the Greinke's of the world, and that's when they start competing, right? So, I mean, this could be the year where, like, they make a deadline move for a guy that's, like, a game changer for them. Because imagine if they get a front of the rotation type of starter with the production you're getting from Tyler Wells. Kyle Bradish has good stuff. He's had one bad start which really affected his ERA. And then you have Grayson Rodriguez, right? He's only going to get better. And then you got John Means coming back. And this bullpen, dude, they might have the two best relievers in all of baseball in their bullpen, in Yenier Cano and Felix Bautista.
Yeah.
So it's like this team they can compete now. I think they need another bat. I think their middle of the infield solidified. I think Jorge Mateo, he has definitely, like, they fixed his swing. He's a hell of a talent, man.
Yeah.
And he's the fastest guy in the major leagues. And he's kind of figured it out, which is huge. So now it's like, this Gunnar Henderson's ass is hitting like 176. He's got to figure it out.
Yeah.
But he's young. He's going to figure it out. But it's like, if you add a corner outfielder, and I don't know which one's going to be available, but, let's just, for shits and giggles, let's just say Paul Goldschmidt becomes available at the deadline. I know he's not a corner outfielder, but they could trade for him and play him at first base because Ryan Mountcastle was drafted as an outfielder, right? And they can move Ryan Mountcastle to the outfield. Like, they could go out and trade for Paul Goldschmidt, Ben.
Yeah. I mean, even then, like, I agree that's probably where you replace someone because you've got, Ryan and Gunnar, at on the corners there, you've got Mateo, and then you've got Adam Frazier at second. But then you look at your outfield, and you've got Cedric Mullins, who's batting 250. You've got McKenna, who's batting 306. Then you've got Austin Hayes, who's batting 291. Like, these are all offensive help. Defensively, I don't.
Well, Mullins is one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. He also has a good on base percentage. That's where he does his damage. Yeah. But I mean, the thing with the Orioles is Anthony Santander, who took a good leap last year. He's started really slow this year. He's kind of been struggling.
Yeah, 264 there. Yeah.
He hit a couple dingers though in the last couple of weeks, so in the last couple of days, which is good to see. But I mean, you can always add another bat. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt to add another bat. And obviously, I think their biggest weakness is their starting rotation. Like that's what I'm saying. They get a front of the line starter.
Yeah,
it's nasty, especially with John Means coming back. If John Means is anything like he was 2 years ago, I mean, he was an ace.
Yep.
So and he was an ace for 2 years. It's not like he just had one anomaly year, and that's when the Orioles were dog shit.
Yep.
So if they get a good John Means back, that really stabilizes their rotation a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see the Orioles as it comes down. But I definitely like if I'm talking AL East and I'm looking at a team on the outside looking in, I'm actually talking about the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like I could definitely see a scenario where the Yankees finished last in this division, Ben.
It would not surprise me. Yeah.
They're probably
especially
the worst
with the
team.
injuries. The injuries are killing them.
Yeah.
And that's another reason for them that they could be dead last. But we saw it with the offensive production last year is they don't do much other than the solo, the two-run shots.
Yep.
And
this year they're not hitting them.
Worked last year, but it doesn't. Yeah, it's not working this year. And again, I know it's early. We're only 35 games in the season, but it's the injuries are a major plague to them. They don't have the depth that they thought they were going to have, and other than Volpe, their young guys aren't playing well. Even Volpe is not.
He'll figure it out though. He's good enough.
Yeah, he at this point I'd say he's middle of the pack, but it's not having Judge hit 62 out really puts a damper on them. I wish I took that under for Judge because I think it was at like 55?
Nah, I think it closed like 48.
Even then I don't see him hitting that.
Well, I mean, we talked about it in the off season. We talked about it during the previews. The Yankees stayed relatively healthy for the most part last year, and for a team of older guys, I didn't know how sustainable that was going to be for 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
and we're kind of seeing that now.
Yeah,
so DJ LeMahieu's like 35, right? Anthony Rizzo is like 36. Stanton's like 34 or 35 years old. Like they got a bunch of 30-year-old guys, and then they got career years last year from Jose Trevino, from just a bunch of Jags, dude. Like that played great last year, and now we're seeing that regression to the mean here, and they're struggling. And that's where they're at. All right, I want to stay on time here. Pitching injuries. We're seeing a lot of starters go down, Ben.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Luis Garcia now. Jeff Springs out with Tommy John. Who else have we seen go down? We've seen a few go down in the last week.
A lot in the last week, and then it seems like this year there's been more pitcher injuries.
I feel like we say that every year, though.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems. Again, we have a new change in rules, which I think is causing that. But it just seems like a lot of big names are going down.
So why do you think the pitch clock has to do with these injuries?
Well, because I don't think they're fully getting set. I think we have a lot of pitchers who are trying to rush things because they don't have the time to go through their full motions to have that motion and that kind of I don't want to say rotation, but that stability, that rotation that they used to have and that they were trained for so long, and then all of a sudden have to go through different pitching stances, different pitching motions to get that ball to the plate in time.
So I still I just think there's so much torque on the elbows now.
Yeah.
With a lot of these pitches, I think we're at this point, if you're a starting pitcher, you're gonna have a Tommy John surgery in your career.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe two. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's out of the norm now for a pitcher because like you're just putting dude, they're throwing like 90-mile-an-hour sinkers, dude. Like that's just not normal in like cutters. You know, and throwing a cutter is not normal for your elbow.
Yeah,
that shit puts hella pressure on your elbow, and that's why a lot of these guys are fucking tearing their ligaments. So
yeah. So we've got DeGrom, Maul, Maeda, Luis Garcia, um, Rodon.
oh, what happened with Maida? I thought he had a leg injury.
I'm just looking at pitcher injuries, so it could be.
Because I know Maul's out for TJ.
Yeah.
And DeGrom has forearm tightness, which usually leads to Tommy John.
Yeah.
And that's a guy that throws 102-mile-an-hour sinkers.
Yeah. I can't find it. Doesn't say. This article doesn't say what Maeda's. But still, yeah, it may not be TJ's, but again, is that part of changing your rotation up, or your motion up to because of this, 15, 20 seconds?
Yeah, I just think it's me personally, I just think it's more to do with the style of pitching now. I just think, like I said, I think everybody's gonna get a TJ.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into our top fives. Ben.
All right.
Who do you got for your top five?
All right, so number 5, we are going to go with the Dodgers. We got Irv back.
We got him
We're
back.
gonna go with the Dodgers at number 5, 20-14 on the season right now. They have now made it into my top 5 list. Plus 40 run differential, 8-2 in this last week. Swept the Cards, swept the Phillies, and did they win today?
Yeah, they took
won the series against San Diego. So, again, great 2 weeks for them. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles. 22-12. Not the best week at 3-3, but they are keeping up with the pace over the last 10. All the teams at the top are not doing that great, other than a select few. So having a 6-4, 7-3 week, 7-3 last 10, it happens there. Number 3, we're going to go Boston Red Sox at 21-14, 8-game winning streak against the Guards, the Phillies, and the Blue Jays. 8-2 of their last 10. We talked about it. Their offense is just in motion right now. Number 2, Atlanta Braves, 24-11, 5-2 this week, 7-3 in their last 10 at 15-3. And they're 7 games up on the division, which is monstrous at this point. And then number 1, we got to go with Tampa Bay Rays, still first in ERA, opponent batting average, WHIP. On the offensive side, first in runs, slugging percentage, batting average, on base percentage, 19-3 at home. Granted, a lot of those teams are, sub 500 teams, but you have to win those games to be a good team.
Yep.
So
can only play who's in front of you.
Yep. So, to be 5-1 this week, 28-7 on the year, can't have anybody else in first.
Yep, I agree. All right, so my top 5 similar, just different order. So number 5, I got the Rangers. Top 10 in pitching so far, but definitely some regression due, especially with no DeGrom. Yep. And then top 5 in WRC plus, which is pretty impressive. So I got the Rangers there. Number 4, I got the Dodgers. Like you said, they're coming on pretty hot now, so comfortable moving them into number 4. Number 3, I still have the Orioles. Like I said, I know they lost a series against the Braves this weekend, but I thought that series against the Braves gave the Orioles a lot of confidence because they easily could have taken that series, and the Braves are one of the best teams in baseball. So I like the Orioles in number 3, and then I got the Braves number 2, obviously. Just so well-rounded, dude. One of the most well-rounded teams in all of baseball. And then number 1, I got the Rays. So similar teams, different order.
Yep.
All right, let's talk some NHL, man. Some NHL playoffs.
What that game end up at?
It's still going. It's 7-2.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah, shout out to all of us that had a under 5.5, and I gotta stop playing the unders in this fucking for these motherfuckers. Anyways, let's start with the Maple Leafs, dude, because last week we were on the show. We talked. That was when Florida won Game 7 against Boston, and I said, this was a terrible, terrible matchup for Toronto. Not necessarily from a hockey standpoint, but just for the simple fact that against Boston, they would have had no pressure, right? Because everybody would have expected the Bruins to win that series. And now against Florida, everybody expected, and I say it past tense, everybody expected Toronto to win this series quite handily, right?
Yep.
And they're they're on the verge of getting swept, man.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning a game in this series.
And I think the big thing too is that it's in this next game. Game 4 is in Florida.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
they don't have anything going for them.
So Ben, let me ask you this: A, what's your thoughts on the series? And B, what the fuck do the Maple Leafs do next?
So on the series, I saw a great meme the other day. The guy who's walking with his girl, and then he looks back at he's looking back at another chick as they walk by.
Yeah.
The girl who he's walking with holding hands is, got past the first round, and then the one that the Maple Leafs guy is turning back to is losing in the second round. I loved it. It was beautiful. I'll try to post it on our page if I see it again. But it doesn't surprise me. I thought Toronto was lucky to get through Tampa Bay first. I don't think they should have won that series. They did, but I don't think they should have. This team is just not built for the playoffs. And I think a lot of it is in their heads. They finally got a win, so that should help them.
Who got a win?
They just don't have they're a lot of finesse players. They don't have that grit that you need in the playoffs. And you see that with most teams that are left, is that they have those, not necessarily enforcers, but those ones that will make the hit, that will go out of their way to make the grit happen, and make the other team frustrated. And I just don't see that with Toronto. You're a top 2 line team, and their third and fourth line are just non-existent at times.
Okay, thank you, because that was the point I was going to make, is that the thing with these NHL playoffs that I'm noticing is you either have teams that are 4 lines deep, like the Kraken and Golden Knights, they're very deep, or you have teams that have superior top 2 line talent, like Edmonton. New Jersey's pretty deep too.
Say that with Toronto too.
Yeah, but it's like you said, they have top talent, but they're not as talented as Edmonton per se. Dude, Austin Matthews and his line, they have 4 shots on goal today combined.
Yeah.
In a must-win game. How is that possible?
Yeah. And they were up 2-0.
No, it was 2-1.
Was it 2-1?
Yeah, it was 1. It was 1-0, then 1-1, then 2-1, then 2-2, and then went to overtime.
Yeah.
But to your point, Ben, I don't think Toronto's as talented as we think they are. I think that they're overrated.
Oh, absolutely.
Very overrated.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews should never be mentioned in the same sentence as Matthew Tkachuk. He's a much better player.
It's different.
He shouldn't be mentioned with
Austin Matthews is a very, different positions, different.
Yeah, but he reminds me
roles on the team, but
he reminds me a lot of Marlowe, where Marlowe was great in the regular season, right? But come playoff time, he wasn't the same guy.
Matthews has a lot to do to even get to Marlowe quality. But Matthews is a hell of a goal scorer. He's a hell of a center. He dishes the puck out very well. I think they're looking at him to be a savior when he's not. Um, they were hoping that Mitch Marner was going to be that same way, where he was going to be a savior, and that that line would be incredible.
Yeah.
But you're having the center play left wing on 3 of your lines. They only have 1 technical left wing in Bunting. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their forwards are centers. And that just doesn't, you're never going to get a goal scorer out of a center like you would out of a winger. You have William Nylander and Mitch Marner as right wingers. You have Matt Bunting as your lone left winger there. Everybody else is a center, and that can't work.
Yeah, it's just, so where do they go from here? Tear it down? Because I mean, at this point, it's like 5 years into this.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think at this point, you keep your centers and you rebuild with everyone except for Marner and Nylander. I think you drop your whole third and fourth line and bring in natural wingers and go from there. A lot of your D is getting old. Have to replace some of that. Your goaltending is definitely not the answer.
Nope.
So
their goaltending might be the worst in the playoffs.
Yeah.
From a future standpoint here, so we have some updated odds for the most part. Yeah, these are actually like updated to the minute. So we got Edmonton is the oh my god, you're not gonna believe this, Ben. Guess who the 2 top favorites are to win the cup?
Edmonton and Vegas.
Edmonton is one of them. The second team is the Florida Panthers.
Oh Jesus.
Plus 320. Carolina Hurricanes plus 350. Devils 8-1. Golden Knights 8-1. Kraken 9-1. Dallas 11-1. Toronto 27-1, dude.
Yeah.
Before the series started, Toronto was the favorite at 7-1. They're now 27-1.
Yep.
What would you take any action on any of these?
I would. I mean, at this point, it's tough because Florida's getting to the next round, but I can see Carolina and or New Jersey beating Florida. And then, going for the West, Dallas and Seattle, I think, even though that series is 2-1 now, I can still see Dallas coming back on this. I don't know who's going to win that series.
I think the Kraken are too deep, dude.
I don't know. I really don't know.
And if what's the goalie's name? Ottmeyer?
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't been great. And like that's what's carried them, right?
Yeah. And I think part of the problem too is that, Seattle, I think the winner of Dallas Seattle goes on to win the West because
there's
the
no
way that but the way that Edmonton and Vegas are beating the shit out of each other,
bro,
and Evander Kane, you're a douchebag. I just think they're going to beat each other up so much that Dallas or Seattle wins that series.
Ben, because Edmonton's tied 1-1 going back to Edmonton.
Yeah.
If the Knights don't win a game there, this series could get over pretty quick. And Edmonton, like, their power play,
then that's 1 out of 2 is not hard.
Well, it is because Edmonton's power play might be the best power play I've ever seen in my entire life. Bro, they're like 80% in the series, dude.
62, but
that's insane.
It is. It absolutely is.
And like,
but
and it's I forget who the analyst was last night on the show, but on TNT, or ESPN or whatever the fuck the game was on. But he was like, the problem is that Edmonton's just so fast that like you're gonna commit penalties on them.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're not gonna get power plays.
Yeah. But my thing here is that it's the Edmonton Vegas series is going to go to 7.
I'm hard pressed to see it. Like,
and they're going to beat each other up.
And I told you the Knights were going to win game 1. I definitely believed it. But I just think Edmonton's such a better team. Like, the Knights are deep. They have 4 lines, but, man, that Edmonton power play, bro, like, you have to stay out of the box. And the Knights are, like, the best team at not committing penalties.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. To be honest, I'm interested to see if we're going to get a hearing for Evander Kane.
They don't need him.
It's Evander Kane and he has his history, and that could mess up that top line.
I mean, so the crazy thing is, like, the Knights were such a better 5-on-5 team in game 1, and that's what won them the game. But last game, the Oilers were the better 5-on-5 team, and they killed them in the power play.
Yeah.
And they had a shorthanded goal.
Which won't happen again. So.
And then as far as Carolina goes, like, I just think as long as Carolina has home ice advantage, like, they have the best home ice advantage. I don't know why, but, like, dude, they just don't lose at home.
Yeah.
It's hella weird. They have like the only true home ice advantage in all of hockey.
Yeah, but they got fucking trounced today.
Yeah, but I mean, like, dude, New Jersey was playing desperate, dude. Like, that was a must-win game for New Jersey. They couldn't go down 3-0.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, honestly, I think New Jersey's going to win game 4. It's going to go back to Carolina tied. Like, Carolina's just got to hold home ice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and guess who came back today?
Who?
Timo Meier.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing, too, Ben, that I think hurts Florida is, like, they're on this, like, just great momentum charge that I feel like they wrap this up in 4, and then if the Carolina Devils game goes 7 and they have to, like, sit for a week, dude, I think that might fucking...
Well, and that's what I say. Like, I think the Carolina, whoever wins the series for Carolina versus New Jersey is going to beat Florida. I think our finals is going to be either of the Carolina or New Jersey, whoever wins the series. And then, I mean, the West is so up in the air, which is why I can't put a bet on them, on them.
You know, I love for the Kraken to win. You know, like, I'm over here. I'm a Kraken fan right now, bro. I am a full-on Kraken fan. I don't know what they call their fans, but I am him.
Yep.
I just don't see a team beating Edmonton, man. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, again, the only way that they're going to get beat is, I mean, Vegas can beat them.
I mean, I think they're beatable. I'm not saying they're like nobody could beat them, but I just don't see it happening right now.
This Vegas and Edmonton series it's brutal, and we've seen it with the Sharks before. You can just get so destroyed. You can win the series, but get so destroyed by a team just playing hard hockey that you go into the next round and it's game over. Injuries pile up. Your oxygen levels, your cardio piles up, and you just can't skate with the other teams. And that's something that I can see. If Seattle wins this series, Seattle can run circles around them.
Yeah, I just feel like Seattle's style of play plays into the hand of Edmonton. Yeah. Because, like, they're both similar teams, except Edmonton just has more talent. Although the Kraken are deeper. You know, I would definitely say they're deeper, and they probably have better goaltending.
Yeah.
You know, Grubauer's been playing really good, but I just think you got to counter what Edmonton does well. And I don't think the Kraken do that. I think the Vegas Knights do, which is why, you know, Saturday's result was a little surprising to me. I didn't expect a blowout. I definitely thought the Oilers were going to win the game, but I didn't expect a blowout like that.
Let's go!
All right, let's get some best bets, Ben, for tomorrow. What do you like?
Go ahead with yours, and then I'll come back with mine.
All right. So tomorrow, my first best bet, I'm going over 7.5 Rays and Orioles. We got Kyle Gibson on the mound against Shane McClanahan. The Orioles have the third highest WRC plus against left-handed pitching. The Rays are number 1 against right-handed pitching. Shane McClanahan, while he has a great ERA, he has a very high xFIP, almost 4, so definitely some regression due. And the Orioles do knock around lefties well. And the Orioles bullpen pretty taxed after a fucking series with the Braves and a game on Sunday that went to extra innings. So I do like that over there. And then I like Milwaukee Brewers on the money line -108 against the Dodgers. I always fade the Sunday night team that has to travel. The Dodgers have to travel after Sunday night today. So just based on that trend where Sunday night teams lose 70% of the time in the last 2 years, I'm going Milwaukee Brewers. And I also like your SF Giants -1.5 against the Nationals. D. Scalfini on the mound against Jake Irvin against pitching for the Nationals. Jake Irvin, 1 start, 7 xFIP right now on a 2 ERA. So definitely some regression coming. And the Giants are top 3 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So I think this is a great spot for the Giants. So give me the Giants -1.5. What do you got, Ben?
So I'm going to look at the Golden Knights and Oilers game. I'm going to go over the 6.5 here tomorrow. Game 1 destroyed that over at 6-4. Game 2, 5-1. I just don't see it as being such a one-sided game. So I think we're going to see a 3-4, 3-5 final score here. So I think we're going to go over on that. Again, just two firepower teams which can really score goals. And then I'm going to go. This is a heart bet, so don't necessarily listen to too much.
Going Warriors
+3. Yep, because I'm going with the Jordan, the Jordan rule of law, where it's every other game
zigzag theory
with Anthony Davis, where he either scores 30 or he scores 10. So I'm going to go with it being his time to score 10. It's also a must win for the Warriors here. If they don't take one in LA, I think it's a wrap. Even though they could technically still win it, I don't think them having to win Game 6 in LA would be too difficult there. So I think you got to take you got to take the Warriors +3.
See, I haven't made a wager on this game yet, Ben. Although I do lean Lakers -3, and here's why. Because you're right, the Anthony Davis theory and also the zigzag theory all benefit what the Warrior. Taking the Warriors side. However, I think the Lakers, this is a must-win game for the Lakers. They have to win tomorrow because I don't think they will win another game in Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to hold home court advantage, go back to Golden State, they lose, they stay up 3-2, right? And then come back home for Game 6. Yeah. Absolute, in my opinion, absolute must-win for the Lakers tomorrow night, which is why I lean Lakers in this spot. I think if the Lakers lose tomorrow, they lose the series, in my opinion.
Yeah. I do also have to, I'm going against the Instagram dog that shoots the basket down the stairs.
Oh, yeah. But it did have the Warriors winning the series.
7, yeah. But he had the Warriors going down 3-1 and then winning the last 3 games. So,
yeah, which is possible.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. So,
the Lakers have to win tomorrow, dude. If they lose tomorrow, in my opinion, they lose the series because I don't see them winning 2 more games in what the fuck's their new arena called? Chase Center.
Chase. Yep.
I don't see it happening, man.
Yep.
Warriors are too good at home. They're not good on the road. Lakers have to take advantage of that.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to check us out Sundays, Tuesdays, Fridays. Fridays, I'm joined by Aaron Kidd talking baseball. We went 2-0 on our best bets last week. We've been crushing that show. Hopefully, tonight we go good on our bets tomorrow. So, fingers crossed. Especially after my shitty day today, dude. I'm due. I'm going undefeated tomorrow, bro.
There we go.
I ain't losing no
I
fucking.
think I'm going for 6-0 in the last 3 pods. So,
are you?
Yeah.
Let me see. Last week you had under 4 first 5. Atlanta first. No, you lost the Atlanta first 5 -1/2.
What was it?
Atlanta first 5 -1/2 on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
I think they lost the game outright.
Maybe that was the time before. So,
but yeah, you've been pretty hot.
Either way. Yep, I'll take it. I'm plus money right now. So
yeah, we gotta keep rolling. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device. Use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. I'm about to head over to Temple of Hoop, so catch that shit tomorrow morning. It's a lot of good hoop talk. These dudes are probably gonna talk hella shit about whatever I don't know. It's always fun though. It's always fun. Anyways, we love y'all. Let's get this money. We'll see y'all on Tuesday. Y'all have a blessed Monday. Let's get the week started off right. Let's get this money. Let's fucking go.